This is Ashley Eckstein, voice of Ahsoka Tano, and thank you for listening to the Super Awesome Geek Show.
Hey!
Hello.
How you doing, Sam?
All right. Was that new, the voice of Ahsoka Tano? I don't recognize that as being on the title sequence before.
Oh, I rotate them. So I met her. Yeah, I met her years ago, and she did that little plug for us. And then we also have a couple other plugs from a few other voice actors, like the guy who played Anakin Skywalker did one for us too. And
nice.
Yeah, so maybe just play a different one when you've been on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see. G-Force is here. Hello.
I'm just going to
say
Geek-Girl out. She's a little bit askew.
You need like a thing at the bottom to hold it.
Yeah. This is like a big background for me. I usually have like no background, so I appreciate the effort.
Matt's here. Hello, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Matt and G-Force. All right. We'll get more as we start chatting. I'm sure as it always happens with these live streams.
Yeah.
So we don't have any rummy today. Sorry, Sam.
That's twice in a row now. What's going
on? I know he loves your stuff, so I'm sure he's going to continue on with getting the issues. But
yeah, well, he just received Geek-Girl 15 from the last Kickstarter and posted about that. So yes, he's still into it.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I love it. I like. We all love rum.
Yeah.
So Sam, let's catch up here. So now you are on to the crossover.
Yes.
So Cabra Cini has seen her miniseries, and Geek-Girl has finished her last arc, and now we're getting into Exodus, the crossover between the two.
Yes. So this has been building for a while. Basically, Cabra Cini has been a drug dealer.
Cini, I got to remember that. Cini, yeah.
Cini, yes.
I always want to say Cini, and I'm sorry.
Everyone does. So, yeah, but we'll get there. I did another show earlier, and he got it straight this time, whereas usually it's always, I'm just going to correct you there. So, yeah. Anyways, so Jacob Trencher, a drug dealer, got shot, robbed, and left for dead. Cabra Cini, he has hired Cabra Cini to find the perpetrator. The perpetrator is a member of Geek-Girl's new super team. So this is where the crossover arises.
Gotcha. Mr. B has jumped in. Hey, John and Sam. So, yeah, and the last arc we had in Geek-Girl was the girl who could take over. Oh, what the crap? Why am I blanking on her damn name now?
The identity thief.
Yeah, identity thief, right? Yeah.
So have you, because you backed it on Kickstarter, didn't you? You've received issue 15?
Yeah, yep.
You had the chance to, are you up to speed?
I think I'm up to date, yeah.
Cool. So yeah, that was the last arc, was this new villain identity thief. Basically, if someone hits her, she literally steals their looks, leaving them as a kind of shell of them former self. So she stole Ruby K. Geek-Girl's identity, and that was the focus of the recent arc, which you can get on the Kickstarter as well as one as an add-on. You can get the whole arc.
Yeah. Yeah, you can kind of catch up. I saw that on some of the different plans for this Kickstarter.
Yeah. So you've got the main rewards. There's like the prologue to the crossover, which is in Cabra Cini Interdimensional Hitwoman 0. And then part 1 is Cabra Cini / Geek-Girl Exodus 1. And then part 2 is Geek-Girl 16. So you can get a reward with all 3, or some people have already got the prologues, so you can get it with just the parts 1 and 2.
Yep. And actually, why don't we go over there real quick? Because I always like to go over the Kickstarter with you.
Sure.
And see what the different levels are. So it looks like once again, you've already hit your goal. So this is definitely coming out. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
I always like that your fans, the people who love these comics, they pretty much make you hit that goal pretty darn quick. I always like that. I always keep an eye on it. But
yeah.
I like to go over it with you because that helps me decide which set I'm going to pledge on,
Well, if you just scroll back up to the top for a second, the profile picture, that's 2 adjoining covers by Flynn Douglas, colored by Chun Zhao. So those are the limited variant editions, which form the cover to the limited variant Exodus 1 and Geek-Girl 16. And you can get them in limited variants and also in Virgins.
The two covers will slide together. You could put them next to each other and then form that whole image. Yeah.
And I think they've done an excellent job with that, both of them. Like Chunlin brought something to it in terms of like these portals we see. One is Cabra's, one is Geek-Girl has portals that let her go in and out of her HQ. Cabra has portals that take her to the infinite dimension, Limbo's crazy cousin locked in the attic. And I didn't specify to make this like a mashup of the 2 portals. She did that, and it looks great.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's incredible. Yeah. That's cool that your artists can come up with this stuff on their own, and then when they show it to you, you're like, whoa, that's awesome. Let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's partly, it comes of, how long we've been doing it, so how familiar they are, because the picture for that was obviously once illustrated by Flynn Douglas was just black and white. So it's only because of Chunlin's familiarity with Geek-Girl having these portals that she made that mashup.
Yeah. No, and it works great as a 2 comics that come together to form one big image.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that.
And then you said you can get those in the regular and Virgin covers, right? So
those are the limited variants. So you can get them as a limited variants and Virgin. And if you scroll down on the right, it will bring up the rewards.
Yeah.
So there's the regular editions are what we can see here. So those are illustrated by the interior artists. So the left one, Exodus 1, is Fernando Melick, who's a regular artist on Cabra Cini. And on the right, it's C. Grander, who is the Geek-Girl artist.
Yep. So Exodus Part 1 would be in Cabra Cini, and Geek-Girl's got Exodus Part 2.
That's it. So Part 1 is Cabra Cini / Geek-Girl Exodus 1. And then it crosses over into Geek-Girl 0.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're doing that as a number 1 issue instead of continuing on from the miniseries. The miniseries has ended, and this is just going to be a number 1, like a one-shot thing for the Exodus crossover. Okay.
Yeah. But like what's gone on, I mean, the Cabra Cini miniseries is available as well, and everything that goes on in that plays into what's going on here. So if you want to get like the backstory, then that's available as well.
And you can get so this one is print editions, £9 or 12 US with shipping. You're looking to try and have it by May. And then this is for the digital editions.
Yeah, and May is a sort of generous to the creative team date. It could well be no, as in not in a bad way, as in the way things are progressing with the artwork. I would expect it to be done before May.
Gotcha. That's giving you a buffer. That's giving you a buffer in case.
Yes, having had the experience of not giving myself a buff, I've decided to do so this time to avoid stress.
Yeah. And then and then we've got the Prelude, and then you've got 1 and 2 digital.
Yeah. So you can get 1 and 2 as their own awards, or you can get the Prelude with them, which, as I say, is Cabra Cini Interdimensional Hitwoman 0.
Yep. And this is the print editions. And then we've got into the variants. So these are the print editions of the variants, right?
Yeah, and the variants obviously are print only because they're limited. So
Gotcha.
the limited variants are 350. There's only 350, and the Virgin ones, I think there's only 150.
Cool.
Yeah, so quite rare.
And you get digital versions in case you want to keep your limited variants pristine.
Yeah,
I like that. There you go.
You also get the regular covers there in the digital edition, so you've got both sets of covers as well.
Yep. 21 pounds, which is about 27 US dollars. And then you've got the Virgin ones here. Here we go.
Yeah.
They look really good, man. Yeah.
I'm so happy with how this has turned out. I mean, Flynn, we've worked on a few covers now for both limited variant covers, both for Geek-Girl and Cabra Cini. And again, I think there's now, like, as with Chunlin, a familiarity, having worked with these characters a bit, that he nails it.
And not much difference. You got 21 for the regular variants and 25 for the Virgins. So you're not. Yeah, it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Some comic companies will almost double the price of the Virgins. You know. So you're doing all right.
All right.
We got the so these are regular and limited editions of Cabra Cini and the crossover, plus you get digital editions.
Yeah, so that's basically the variant and the regulars of parts 1 and 2.
Gotcha. Yep. A whole collector's pack. Yep.
Yeah. And then the limited ones again, but you've got the limited variant by Carlos Villas of the Prelude in there as well.
Yep.
Virgin.
And then the Virgin of the Prelude. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's now we've got as well. You can't really properly see it there because it's cropped, but it's a good one. And this here is the complete Cabra. This is you've got
the whole
mini-series, and you've got Cabra Cini Interdimensional Hitwoman 0, and you've got Cabra Cini Voodoo Junkie Hitwoman 0, which precedes everything else, and the Geek-Girl 16 and the Exodus 1. So a nice bundle there.
Yeah, that's a good bundle too.
Yeah,
it's a good way to catch up if you're not.
And
up to date with the Cabra Cini stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the Cabra Cini miniseries, you don't need to read it, but it will enrich your experience of the crossover if you have.
Yeah.
So that's just the digital again. And then that's the deluxe version, which gives you parts 1 and 2 in all the variants. So regular, limited, and Virgin.
Gotcha.
And then that's going to be, what are we looking at here? This is the complete limited variants. Yeah.
With all the variants, yeah.
Chris Fisher does the miniseries, all the miniseries covers, and they're very nice. And this is, we're going super deluxe now. This is all the parts 1 and 2 and the Prelude, all variants, regular, limited, and Virgin.
And then we have all gone. These are the ones that
these are done. So that's your top tier now. Is your 3 variants, Prelude 1 and 2.
That's cool.
And it's good as well because like the Prelude is because like part of the point of the crossover is to cross over the readership from my two comics.
Yeah.
And though the Prelude interdimensional Hitman has been available before, I'm now finding that it's now part of it's become integrated into this crossover, that a lot of Geek-Girl readers are jumping on and getting the Prelude as well, which is great, because I really want, I'm very invested in both of these characters, and I'd like, a reader of one to be a reader of the other.
Yeah. I gotta say, this interior artwork is cool, man. Look at that dragon.
Yeah, so this is where Cabra's in the Infinite, which she can open the portal to. It creates another portal to whoever she's her hit is, but she's got to travel through all kinds of stuff to get there. And the Rook, the ruler of dimension, doesn't like her abusing this dimension of his as her personal taxi cab. So he throws everything he can at her. And here we've got this black dragon that permeates smoke. And this is his latest thing. He's hoping to dissuade her using the Infinite with. And what's going on here is this is the hitman, the drug dealer who's shot and left for dead. He's communicating with his girlfriend via his occult magic. She's in a coma. She went to the spirits in limbo, but the Rook took a liking to her and brought her to the Infinite, which, as I say, is limbo's like upper dimension.
Yeah.
And what is going on here, what she's filling him in on, is she put him on to hiring Cabra Cini, but what she hadn't told him is there's an ulterior motive, which is her body is in hospital in a coma, too damaged for her to come out of it. So the Rook has concocted this plan because he likes her, where if he can break Cabra Cini, both physically by physically attacking her and psychologically, which he's done by invading her mindscape and is making her relive her greatest traumas back to back. If he can break her physically and psychologically, they can exhume her soul and replace it with Christina, who we see here. So Christina ends up in Cabra's body, back in a living body. Cabra ends up in Christina's body, comatose in a hospital.
Yeah.
That is aim with what he's doing here, what he's putting her through by attacking her physically and psychologically.
And he had to write those symbols, the runes, like on the mirror to get her to be in there so he could speak to her.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool. You have incredible ideas here, man. I always love it.
Yeah, well, this is the I always reference the Grant Morrison Doom Patrol influence. That's quite fundamental in this crossover and the infinite dimension. And here, what we've got here at the end of the preview is Geek-Girl's now fronting this super team, but one of them quit. So her BFF, Summer, who was in as Geek-Girl previously, has been, which is what's going on in the identity crisis arc that we discussed, is Summer is trying to get her own superpowers so she can fill the gap and join Geek-Girl's team, because Summer loves all this superhero stuff. She kind of pushed Geek-Girl into becoming a superhero. Designed her costume because she's a fashion student. And now Summer she's hooked up with this crew of dubious characters, unfortunately for her, who have called the Hive, who share their powers. One of them's telekinetic, one of them can manipulate glass. So if you combine those two powers, for example, if you shatter a pane of glass, then they can send shards of glass flying. So she can use those powers by being part of the Hive. Her gift to them is just that she's a good fighter, but she has now her own superpowers, as it were, and is here to join Geek-Girl's team. This is where they're about to begin their training. Johnny Carlisle, who's behind the team, put Summer onto someone that could set her up with these powers, and here she now is in her new personally designed costume.
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks for running us through that, Sam. That's really cool.
That's all right. I mean, did you? I don't know if you're up to speed on with the Identity Crisis arc. I don't know if you. I've not. 15 has only recently gone out to Kickstarter backers. I haven't had any feedback.
You know, it might. It very well might not have arrived yet. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
If you just sent it, it might not have arrived. But I know that I got a pack from you before that had a couple. But I think it was the 0 and the other one, right?
Yeah, it would have been like
because I was behind on 2 of them because there's that thing on Kickstarter where you got to verify your address before the stuff goes out or something. And for some reason, I don't always get those notifications.
No, you're not alone. But yeah, I think what you've had then, and
so I think I sent in 2 verifications back to back and got the 1 pack, but maybe the other one is still in the mail or on its way. Yeah.
Yeah,
that very well could be, Sam. You're right.
It could be. So what you'll have added would be the Cabra Cini Voodoo Junkie Hit 0, and Geek-Girl 13 and 14 with 15.
Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah, I think so. I think that was the last one I opened up. You're right.
Cool.
Chip's here.
Hey, Chip.
D Daddy, Mr. D, Mr. Matt, John, and Sam. Sam's all over the place. A marketing madman. Caught him on K-Pop's channel earlier.
Yeah, that was a fun interview. It's the first time I've done that show. Yeah, thanks, Chip.
Yeah, Chip is a big comic guy. He's into all things comic books, so you'll probably see him around in a number of the chats if you're making the rounds on people's live streams and stuff.
Yes, I'm recognizing the name.
And Dino's here, Geek Strong. Let's give him some Geek Strong.
Hey, Dino!
Yeah! He's going to love that. BG, Matt, Chip. Hey. Orlando is here today. Good to see you, Orlando.
We're snowballing now, John.
Yeah.
Locking in.
There you go.
Orlando.
So, tell me what your So let's get into some future plans here. So we've got this 2-story thing. Now you're going to run a second miniseries of Cabra Cini, or are you going to go right into an ongoing? What's your plans? Neither.
As far as Cabra Cini goes, I can't really say anything.
Oh, you're going to keep that secret. Okay.
It would be
for now
massively spoilerific. But the thing with this crossover, which is the prelude and then 3 parts. So parts 1 and 2 now, 3 still to come. Things will change for both Geek-Girl and Cabra.
Wow.
So
this is a stay tuned kind of situation. Gotcha.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I mean, as a reader and as a fan, we don't want to see the end of Cabra Cini. That's where this question stems from. We want more. We want more, so we want to see another miniseries or something. But we'll get more, but we're not going to say what it is yet. Gotcha.
Yes, yes, but Cabra Cini, as you know, being a part of the Geek-Girl series previously, which issues 5 through 9 she appeared in, which kind of set up what's going on here with Jacob, the drug dealer, and her getting hired. So they exist in a shared universe, so she doesn't need to have her own series necessarily. And also with what happens,
we'll find out.
Yes, there's like literally nothing more to add to that without it massively spoiling.
Yeah. No, we'll find out. That's cool.
But I'm invested in both of these characters. Both characters, yes.
Which leads me to the next thing, which probably is the same answer. You don't want to get into the future of Geek-Girl because you've got things that are happening that are going to shake up the universe here. And yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, what's going on with Geek-Girl just ahead of the point we're at was this in the Identity Crisis arc, in which Identity Thief she literally stole her looks and was going around as if she was Ruby K. She met Ruby's friends, hung out, lived her it girl lifestyle. However, something happens in 15, which kind of changes how both Ruby and the Identity Thief see Geek-Girl, which really sets up how Geek-Girl goes into this crossover.
Gotcha. Now, Sam, you mentioned that your influences here, for anyone who isn't familiar, is like Doom Patrol, right? And
Grant Morrison
kind of thing. Yeah, Grant Morrison. Yeah. And so let's go over a little bit of how does that work its way into the comics that you create?
Well, off the back of Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol run, when coming up with stuff, I was able to sort of think in weird mode. If anyone is familiar with Grant, specifically Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol run, it's very out there. A lot of the stuff, without just being rehashed, a lot of the stuff came into play in the TV series, which I really liked as well. I mean, things such as Danny, the sentient transvestite street. I mean, that one's hard to top, but there's all manner of weirdness going on. And yeah, like that is... there's nothing that's like you can say, oh, this is directly inspired by this, but the general sort of weird vibe.
Yeah, you like to bring in the weird stuff, but weird from your own mind and your own experience. Yeah.
Cabra Cini, certainly without that influence, wouldn't exist. I mean, the first scene I wrote with her was Stream of Consciousness, her book, which is in an issue of Geek-Girl, where we are introduced to her, when she's walking around a supermarket, smoking a cigarette, not giving a shit, and the teller tries to shortchange her. At least she perceives him as trying to shortchange her, which she then pulls a gun on him in order to get the correct change. So she's quite eccentric. And giving of no fucks.
Yeah. Dino Geek Strong. He's saying, "Is there any chance we'll see Geek-Girl ever fight Bag Boy?" So I gotta explain that comment.
Yeah.
Back in the day, my friends this was like right after high school, like early college. My friends and I all got together and made a short movie. It was a slasher film, sort of like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, those kind of things.
Sure.
And we had the bad guy, the villain, was named Bag Boy, because what we had at the time was a paper bag that we cut eye holes out of and put over the villain's head. And he wore like a blue
economical and threatening.
Yes, and he wore a blue jumpsuit and had a machete, of course. And it all manner of things. I mean, he used a machete, he used a rubber hose, he used one of those scissor that punches, the punching glove that when you pull it together it shoots out, He used one of those to kill someone. So he used all manner of stuff to take care of people. And that movie is I've found it and posted it up on my YouTube channel as a something that we did when we were kids, when we were young. Well, so Dino apparently wants my Bag Boy character to be in your Geek-Girl comic at some point.
So is Bag Boy all one word?
Yeah, it is all one word. Yeah, Bag Boy.
Immediately after this show and see whether it's an appropriate fit.
There you go, Dino. You might make him famous. There you go. So, Sam, do you have any modern influences that you like? What are you reading any comics right now? Anything really hit you striking right now? Or
I'm trying to get back on it. I got so behind. I mean, part of the reason is there's like some podcasts I'm really into that, like British ones that come out on a regular basis. So I tended to go to bed reading comics, and now because of these, but I've getting towards expending the third and final so far season of one of them. So I'm trying to get back into it. I've got a massive backlog, and I'm deliberating. There's stuff coming out from Marvel that I'm interested in. I'm deliberating whether to plow through this backlog first, such as like I was in an arc of Iron Man that I was enjoying, but now there's this new West Coast Avengers thing where you've got War Machine and Iron Man and Ultron as
Crazy,
which
right?
Sorry.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, and I understand it's quite comedic as well. So I'm interested in that. And they're also doing a Time Variance Authority series, and I love Loki, so I'm interested in that. Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be an ongoing series starting in January. So these are all things I want to get on. It's just whether to just go straight for it or plow through the massive. I mean, if you could see the actual the backlog I've got to get through, it would possibly be easier to just jump straight on the new ones. But I did enjoy what I was reading. There was a great arc with Iron Man where he got like sort of became like godlike.
Oh yeah.
And what's her name with the yellow costume? Hellcat.
Hellcat. Yes.
She was a big part of it, and she was great. And I thought the writer wrote her brilliantly. So I was enjoying that. As I say, it's just kind of like, and also it's like, you know, the amount of time I've done like Kickstarters almost back to back.
Oh yeah, you have.
Ahead of this one, there was like a deluxe Geek-Girl one, and then before that there was a deluxe Cabra Cini Video Junkie 10. So it's a bit like when you've spent all day promoting comics, you don't massively then want to read comics. But I'm absolutely, I'd want to one way or another get back on it. As I say, there's stuff coming out from Marvel that I've always been a Marvel fan, and there's, I say, this West Coast Avengers thing sounds mental. And the TVA, these are must reads for me. The TVA thing. So yeah, one way or another, I'll get back on the horse.
Yeah. My thing is I think it just started. I haven't been to my shop this week to see if they're in yet, but I believe they were brought out. But Laura Kinney, X-23 has that new series coming. I do believe the first one's already been out, right? It's probably waiting for me there. But,
I mean, I have read some of the new X Factor.
She was in that. Yep.
I mean, I like what they're doing at the moment. I mean, I'm intrigued by what Joe Kelly's going to be doing with Spider-Man as well. But again, I've got like a load of the previous Spider-Man, as Phoebe the Fae would refer to him, to get through. So I'll do it. I'll find a way.
Yeah. I always pick up Spider-Man and Wolverine and that kind of stuff. But I like of recent characters, I just always love when X-23 shows up in something. And in the Spider-Verse, I love Silk, the Spider-Woman Silk.
Yeah.
And so whenever she shows up, I'm like all on those, you know. So like my comic store knows that even if she's just making an appearance, I need that one issue, you know. Like even if I don't collect it normally, if she shows up in something I don't collect, I need that one issue just you know.
Yeah, I've had that with a few characters in the past.
Yeah. Looks like Gary popped in. Gary, sorry I'm late. Congratulations, Sam.
Thank you, Gary. Hello there.
So yeah, let's see. You've already hit your mark. We've gone through the thing. We're going faster than I thought, Sam. We went through the Kickstarter. What do you want to add? What do you want to say that maybe I didn't hit? A question or something I didn't hit on? Is there something you usually get hit on that I haven't touched today?
I think it's reasonably well covered. I mean, the easy for anyone that wants to check out the Kickstarter, the easy link is Cabra Cini .com, which is CABRACINI.com. So that links straight to it rather than having to do Kickstarter /
The whole thing.
All of that. There's going to be stretch goals coming up because, as you say, we've hit the goal. So there's more stuff to come than what's up. But it's, I'm really pleased with it, and yeah, it's a good jumping on point.
Yeah.
But you can get the preceding stuff on there as well if you like. But I'm really, really happy with how this arc has turned out. I put like a lot of work into it. It, like, as I say, when I came up with Cabra Cini, it was in this, back in the day, this stream of consciousness, Morrison inspired way, and she's developed, as has Geek-Girl. Geek-Girl originally was like this, not used to the superpowers. She got, when she landed these super tech glasses, she was super klutzy, not used to the strength, knocking over drinks over cool kid click and alienating them with the exception of Summer. So they're both developed and will continue to develop. And I'm really, I've done a lot of drafts of this Exodus 1, and I'm really happy with the end result.
Speaking of trying, like, do you have any local shops in your area that you're trying to get into, to get willing to maybe post some of them in there to see if you can grab readership from local shops? Have you tried that?
You put a thought into my head, because the main local one, they didn't used to take stuff. They'd only get stuff through Diamond, but the
Gotcha.
managers changed recently. So that could be worth looking at. And I need to get back into conventions. I stopped when COVID hit, and because I've been quite prolific with Kickstarters, it takes up a lot of time.
Yeah.
And I haven't got back into it, but I should really do that.
Because I actually wonder if, like, I mean, I know it's hard because I live in the States or something, but it's just like, if there were some way for me to help, like, I think it would be cool to go to some of the local shops and try to help plug this thing and get people to get it. But I know logistically it might be difficult for getting these things over here because we're in a different country. But I just thought, like, maybe you could do something like that in the UK as a start, try to get people in different cities and maybe help out, like, get into local shops and in a couple different cities, and maybe you can grow readership, and
Yeah.
I'm just spitballing ideas here, trying to help you out. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because like I always want comics like this, your stuff and a few others that I read from Kickstarter. I always want to start seeing them like really catch on and grow. And maybe I'm just like living a dream that is difficult to push forward, but it's like I'd love to one day see these comics in everybody's comic store.
Yeah, I mean, like,
because I think they're that good. I think they're that good, Sam. That's what I'm saying.
Geek-Girl is published by Mark Osier, and Mark Osier used to go through Diamond but stopped because it was like they had like an established brand, but they were then, every time they put out a new series, they had to like sort of pitch it to them, and the guy, the publisher, was like, this is no. I mean, it's like, if you imagine, like, they're not like a Marvel or DC, but if you presumably when Marvel and DC put out a new comic, they don't have to pitch it to Diamond.
Yeah, they're just going to take it. Yeah, you're right.
Take it. And Mark Osier have been going a long time and are an established brand. They had like the Starship Troopers franchise. That was their licensed comic. So I understand why the publisher doesn't want to do that. And also, having said that, though, Diamond is now not the monopoly. So we've discussed the idea of looking at the other publishers, but that's always seems to be sort of on the horizon for them, or off in the horizon rather. But having said all of this, back in the day, when going some way back, when Diamond was the absolute monopoly, Kickstarter wasn't the outlet that it's become. So Kickstarter is another distributor effectively, and it is the best way to get these comics, because if you go through Diamond, there's a massive cut Diamond takes.
Oh, of course, yeah.
You really got to sell a very large amount for there to be any hope of making any money off it. Whereas Kickstarter, the cut they take is like, including like they use Stripe to process payments. I think it's like about 10% in total that they take. So Kickstarter,
so it helps you out better as a creator just going through Kickstarter.
Yeah, and you see, like I think Brian Pulido and Coffin Comics are very prolific on it. And I don't know how much they sell in comic shops, but they do very well on Kickstarter. So it certainly has become as I say, it's almost like another distributor now.
Yeah,
so
that's true. There are, when you start looking through the comics that are available on Kickstarter, there are quite a few. That is true. There's actually, there's hundreds of them, and you start looking through it all. Yeah,
and you do get, like, I think the reason, if we, for those that remember that are familiar with Kickstarter, Keanu Reeves's Berserker comic, which kind of like became this, the publisher, I forget whether it was Boom or IDW, but this was, a fairly large publisher using Kickstarter. So there was a concern that then this would snowball, and then the smaller guys would have a hard time getting seen. However, this hasn't happened, and I think part of the reason it hasn't happened is it's really, when you've got a Kickstarter running, it's almost a full-time gig. I've got a part-time day job, and previously, when I've had enough holiday available, I have like taken the month off just so I can see promoting Kickstarter. So I think that's possibly a barrier for people from the bigger publishers, because you are certainly, as an individual, spending a huge amount of time promoting it and keeping things interesting for those that have already backed as well. So like, we'll have stretch goals coming up. Now we've hit the goal. It's a massive investment of time, which is again, having done, this is like the 15th, as was pointed out to me on a previous show that I've done now. It takes a lot of time, and fulfillment as well takes a lot of time. And copies turn up damaged, and you have to get them replaced. And fulfillment is not, the book's printed, there you go. Which is why, if you haven't received Geek-Girl 15 yet, it's a gradual sending out of it.
Well, and you can only box up so many per day too. You can't. Exactly. Like anyone who's packed stuff for shipping. I don't know. You're just basically doing it on your own, right? Yeah. So once you put together, even you do like 15 or 20 of them in a row, you need a break. You can't just keep going. You got to be like, all right, I got to go do something else for 10 minutes, get my mind off, and then you can come back. Because the last thing you want to do too is like mix up the labels and have things going to the wrong. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, I've caught myself a couple of times where I've written and somehow written out that I use like Gemini mailers, and I've now decided to, having written all the mailers out, to put them in alphabetical order, so I can actually check I'm not just sending the same thing out twice to the same person, which I've hopefully prevented myself from doing, because that's the margins aren't huge on this, so sending the same thing out twice is not gonna help the financial situation. But again, another reason why I guess that the larger publishers don't spend that much time doing this is you are individually mailing these out to everyone that's back. Whereas if you're going through Diamond, you just send one great shipment to Diamond and they do the rest.
Yeah, that's true.
The time factor is very high.
Yeah, yeah.
But fortunately, I
See,
I quite enjoy it. So
yeah. See, I would pull in my family members or something, get mom sitting at a table, mom would ship a few and I'd ship a few, you know.
yeah, well, I've had a friend help me with it, but it takes time.
Yeah, yeah. So speaking of stretch goals, I know in the past you sent out prints and stuff. You ever think about doing stickers or things like that, or?
Well, what's lined up at the moment is a very nice Geek-Girl print, limited print, which is going to be the initial thing, and then depending on where things go from there, yeah, possibly. I mean, I did like a polybagged thing for Black Friday where you could get like limited variants, like a big discount, but mystery limited variants. So I'm always open to other ideas with it. Stickers, it's a possibility. It's just basically if you're adding a stretch goal, it's anyone that gets the stretch goal gets it gratis effectively. So if you're having to produce stickers and so forth, you've got to be thinking about how much of a dent this is going to
course, yeah, yeah.
So there's all that to consider. But prints, I think, is pretty nice, and we've got a nice one coming up for Geek-Girl once we get into that.
Cool, cool. Looks like Gap's joined us. Hello, Gap. Good to see you.
Yeah, after dark.
Well, this is cool. This has been great, Sam. Yeah, I mean, I was planning on doing about an hour, but like I said, we've kind of covered things faster than I thought.
Yeah,
What else? What is there anything else that you want to touch on, man? I mean, I don't want to leave you hanging if there's something else.
This is it really. I mean, we're not far off an hour, and we've hit things pretty well. So, this is something I've been building to, and this is, as I say, it's a jump on point. You don't have to have read Geek-Girl before, you don't have to read Cabra before, but it brings you into this shared universe of two characters that I'm very invested in.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cabra Cini, CabraCini.com. Hey Gap.
I'll add that to the description after this ends, because I put a couple of your links in there, but not that simple one. So I'll put the simple one in once this is done. Yeah, I'd like to say for myself, like following Geek-Girl and following Cabra Cini all along, this crossover exodus, you've got me really excited for it now. I mean, from what you told me and how this is going to change both characters and change the universe going forward a little bit, like you got me hooked. I'm really interested in what's going to happen, having read the whole thing coming up. And then I also like that, just like you're saying, this sounds like a great point to jump onto if you've never read either one of these, because like you're saying, it sounds like from what you're saying that some of the changes in this will set up the future going forward. So if you start from this crossover and keep going into the future with your collection, you're going to have a good point to come on to and then continue reading.
Yeah. I mean, basically, where things are at with Geek-Girl is this is kind of like after some sort of misstarts. This is the beginning of her super team is seemingly coming together, and they're about to go into training and become this bona fide super team. Cabra Cini is making one of her trips through the infinite, which the Rook has got increasingly displeased with, and has now found, because the Rook is not like a murderer. He wouldn't just kill. He's like a merciful god, if you will. But he's found a way where he can really stick it to Cabra and take her out of the picture if he pulls off his plan. So yeah, it's a good point for both of them.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. As always, I mean, every time I'm always looking forward to the next issue, but now that I've talked to you, you've really got me excited for this crossover and what's to come.
Thanks.
You know?
Yeah, no, I'm really really happy with it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to people getting it.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the most important things I think as a creator. I mean, like if the creator isn't into it, this you can tell in the story and the way things come off. But when someone like you you're invested in these characters, you're invested in this story, and you love what you're doing with these characters and in this story. And I think it shows when the final product comes out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and you know this applies to all of the creative team. I mean, the artist and on Geek-Girl has been there since there was a 4-issue miniseries before this ongoing, and he's still there. I mean, to keep if you put together that there was like a 0-issue back in the day, which Carlos wasn't involved in, but if you put together the miniseries and where we're up to on the ongoing now, that's 4 issues and 50, so 19 issues to have the same artist on is pretty unusual, and they're not going to do it if they're not into it.
Yeah.
And likewise to Chunlin, the colorist, and Paul McLaren, the letterer, we're all into it, and like you say, that comes through.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, Sam. Gap was saying gratis. What is that's? He means like something he's including in with the packages.
Like it's free.
Yeah.
So if you bet anyone that isn't familiar with Kickstarter, which is quite easy to sign up to if you go to Kickstarter.com, stretch goals is kind of a thing that's often or regularly done. So basically, if we've passed the funding goal, we then set up another goal. If we hit that, then all, in this case, physical backers will get this limited Geek-Girl print. So, and without, you've already backed what you back, you don't have to do anything else. That just gets added to it. And if we continue and we set up another goal with another stretch goal, then there may be something else thrown into your rewards as well.
Yeah. Like in the toy world, it's kind of like when you have a HasLab that reaches, 12,000 backers, and then it reaches 15,000, you get another thing added onto it.
Yeah.
It's that same kind of idea.
Yeah, I mean it's part of the fun of Kickstarter because you get more than just the comic.
Yeah.
So there's some cool collectibles, and
it's actually a good surprise for the people who back it, because when I back these things, I just expect, all right, I'm going to get the comics.
Yeah.
And then when something shows up, if you go, oh, and we reached this other stretch goal, here's a print with it, you're like, oh, cool, I got this extra thing. It's always fun to get that when you open up the packages and see this extra stuff thrown in there, And
another thing with Kickstarter as well is like if you back these on Kickstarter, you get them before there's a general release. So like we were talking about Geek-Girl 15, which is either shipped or is on its way to backers. That doesn't get an official release until January the 2nd. So, you get it way in advance.
Yep, that's true too. Yeah, you're right. Well, Sam, I want to say thanks a lot for popping in and saying hello to us this time. And, it's always a pleasure to chat with you, my friend. I think we've been together for many, many years now, coming together and talking about the latest issues, because I can remember all the way back to the miniseries, at least, right? I mean, So it's pretty close from the beginning that we've been chatting. So
yeah.
I'm always happy to have you back on and chat and keep us up to date with what's going on with Geek-Girl,
Well, I appreciate that, and I'm always happy to be on.
Yeah. And I hope that you get the same thing out of it. I know that since you've been on at various times, you've met people in our chat and people like Rum who come on once in a while that are sort of in your area. So you've actually met new people in your area of the UK just from doing stuff like this too.
Yes, indeed. Rum used to live where I live in Sheffield, so we're familiar with similar locales.
Yeah. G-Force says, thanks for bringing us up to speed, Sam.
Not a problem.
So I just like to say, everyone out there in the chat, everyone watching this on the rewind, if you didn't catch it live and you're watching it later, please check out Sam's Kickstarter for the latest on Geek-Girl and Cabra Cini. this cool Exodus crossover sounds like something that would be great for both people who've been collecting all along, and also awesome for anyone new who wants to jump on. This is the point to do it.
Yeah.
So thanks, Sam. Any closing remarks on the way out?
I think you've knocked it out of the park with your closing comments there. I think that
All right. Thanks to everybody in the chat for hanging out with us today. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Stay awesome out there, everybody. See ya.
Bye-bye.
And now we got that awkward.